Come and fly away with me. 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 Don't you be afraid, everything will change. You and I jumping off the edge. They say dreamers never die, so come.
Cape Verde, where the islands sing and the sea remembers. Cape Verde had always lived in the corners of my imagination, an archipelago whispered about by the wind, adrift in the Atlantic Ocean, somewhere between continents and dreams. I'd often find myself staring at maps, tracing the outline of those 10 volcanic islands, wondering what stories they held. But I, like many, hesitated. Could I make it there? Was it too far, too unknown, too costly for a traveller like me? In 2024, I stopped wondering. I booked a ticket. Because if you really want to understand Cape Verde, you start where every love story begins, around the table. Delicious cuisine. In Cape Verde, food isn't just nourishment, it's memory, heritage, and celebration. Every island, every kitchen, every steaming pot tells a story that stretches across oceans. The cuisine is a living fusion of African roots, Portuguese influence, and a rhythm all its own, shaped by history, migration, and the unique challenges of island life. My first meal in Cape Verde wasn't at a restaurant. It was on the porch of a modest home in Mindelo, where a friend's aunt ladled out a bowl of 𝐾𝐶𝐭, the national dish. At first glance, it looked simple, a thick, slow-cooked stew of corn, beans, sweet potato, and chunks of tender pork. But with the first bite, I understood why this dish is sacred. Its comfort in edible form. Rich, earthy, and layered in flavour, it's a dish that simmers for hours, and sometimes even overnight, until every ingredient has surrendered itself to the collective. There's a version called 𝐾𝐶𝐿, when it's made with sausage, beef, or fish. And then there's 𝐾𝐶𝐿, a leftover remix, fried crisp in a pan, and often served for breakfast with eggs or tuna. Fresh fish and seafood dominate the menu in most towns, especially on islands like Sal and Santiago. Grilled grouper, wahoo, and octopus, often seasoned simply with lime and garlic, can be found in family-run eateries and beachside tavernas. And there's something poetic about eating grilled bife de atum, tuna steak, while watching the same ocean that birthed it shimmer under the setting sun. There is a rhythm to eating here, a gentle pulse that mirrors the music always playing in the background, from radios, from passing cars, from the mouths of neighbours singing as they cook. It wasn't until I found myself on a beach in São Vicente, surrounded by thousands of strangers moving in rhythm under the moonlight, that I truly understood Cape Verde. That night, at the Festival de Baía das Gatas, something shifted. I wasn't just a traveller anymore, I was part of something much larger. The drums, the voices, the salty air. It all blended into a kind of magic that only happens when people come together for no reason other than joy. Baía das Gatas is the heartbeat of Mindelo every August. Originally just a grassroots gathering of local musicians, it's grown into one of West Africa's biggest music festivals. But it doesn't feel commercial. There are no VIP lounges or overpriced passes. Just open sky, live music that stretches into the early hours, and the constant sound of waves crashing behind the stage. That night, I danced barefoot in the sand next to locals and tourists alike, bonded by rhythm and a shared love for life. The whole city turned into a stage. Inspired by Brazil but deeply rooted in Cape Verdean identity, Carnival here is more than spectacle. It's storytelling through costume, satire, and samba beats. On a quiet morning stroll through the city, as the sun rose over the bay, the streets came alive not just with people, but with colour. Murals stretched across buildings like living poetry, bold portraits of Caesarea Evora, scenes of fishermen, women dancing, children laughing. Each brushstroke felt like a heartbeat, as if the walls themselves were remembering something and wanted me to remember too. Cape Verde's art scene is quietly powerful. It's not about grand galleries, though you'll find a few, like Centro Nacional de Arte in Praia or Galleria Zero in Mindelo. It's about presence. The kind of art that lives where people live, in alleyways, cafes, on boats, on bus stops. I met a young artist named 𝐿𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐿 who told me, "We paint what we feel, our history, our islands, our struggle, our joy." And when I looked again, I saw it all. The migration stories, the Atlantic winds, the fusion of African roots and Portuguese influence. Art here isn't decoration. It's declaration. Cape Verde, I realized, doesn't separate art from life. Here, they are the same thing. And much of that inspiration, those colors, those curves, seem drawn directly from the land itself. Because what truly fuels the island's imagination is Cape Verde's stunning natural beauty. Sometimes, the most profound part of a journey isn't what you taste or hear, it's what you see when you stop and really look. Cape Verde stunned me in ways I didn't anticipate. I came searching for culture and rhythm, but I found something quieter too, a raw, untouched beauty that humbles you into silence. It hit me hardest on the island of Fogo. One morning, I climbed partway up Pico do Fogo, the active volcano that dominates the island. The earth beneath my feet was black and brittle, still warm in places from past eruptions. Around me, tiny green vines dared to grow out of the ash. At the summit, clouds rolled beneath me like an ocean, and I realized this island had taught its people how to grow vineyards in volcanic rock. If that isn't resilience made visible, I don't know what is. In 𝐿𝐶, the landscape felt like a different planet. White sand dunes, endless skies, and salt flats that shimmer pink under the sun. I floated in the Pedra de Lume salt crater, laughing like a child at how the water held me. And in Boa Vista, I rode across the desert on an old pickup, then watched sea turtles hatch and scramble to the ocean under a sky so full of stars, it felt like the universe was leaning in to listen. Cape Verde isn't just a destination. It's an ecosystem of beauty, where sea meets sky, where lava meets leaf, where silence speaks louder than words. And after witnessing all of this, I began to understand the creativity, the music, the spirit of the people. It all comes from this land. So now I ask you, what's stopping you? Is it fear? Doubt? The belief that it's too far or not for someone like you? Because I was once there too. But Cape Verde changed that. It reminded me that the world is more open than it seems, and the rewards for stepping out of your comfort zone are immeasurable. Would you walk the black sands of a volcano? Would you dance to the heartbeat of Funaná in the streets? Would you let a mural speak to your soul? The invitation is here. The islands are waiting. If this journey moved you, even just a little, please subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with someone who needs a reason to dream again. You never know who might take the first step because you did. Cape Verde welcomed me like an old friend, and I believe it's ready to welcome you too.